If you've been enjoying our podcast as much as we have and hope that we continue past 50 episodes, here's your chance. Here's your chance to help make that happen. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, not only will you help the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast to live on, but you'll also get exclusive content just for you.
Here's what's in store for you. Join monthly Q&A sessions where you can ask us about anything. Whether it's about our work, personal interests, or advice on your own projects, we're here to connect and share.
Enjoy unique content created specifically for Patreon subscribers, including bonus segments from our shows.
You'll have a say in what we create, and you'll have a voice in future content.
Benefit from exclusive discounts on merchandise and entries into special giveaways. It's our way of saying thank you for your support.
Receive personalized shout-outs in videos, podcasts, or social media posts.
Because your support on Patreon allows us to dedicate more resources to creating the content that you love.
You could join the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast community on Patreon and become a Prairie patron for just $5 a month. We thank you so much for your continued support, and we cannot wait to share our ongoing journey with you on Patreon.
We are extremely grateful for the support of VisitSimiValley.com and the city of Simi Valley's belief in Little House on the Prairie and their support of the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Discover the charm of Simi Valley, California, the home of the Prairie. Visit Simi Valley, where adventure meets history and the spirit of the Prairie comes alive. Explore the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library, step aboard Air Force One, enjoy stunning hikes and savor delicious local cuisine. Whether you're here for a weekend getaway or a family vacation, Simi Valley offers something for everyone and is only 30 minutes from Los Angeles. Plan your visit today and experience the best of Simi Valley. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more details. Your adventure awaits in Simi Valley.
Hello, Bonnet Heads! It's 2025, and what a year it's been so far. My goodness. Hi. I just, a little... Gotta say it first and foremost. Hello, everyone. I'm Pamela Bob, the creator and star of Living on a Prairie. And, you know, the bitch is back. I'm here with Alison Arngrum. Woohoo! And resounding out our trio, our trifecta, mind you, it's my hashtag imaginary boyfriend. That's right, Dean Butler. Hello, Dean.
Well, hello, Pamela. You know, you have to earn it every day. So I need to keep being good enough to be my imaginary boyfriend or your imaginary boyfriend or their imaginary boyfriend.
Let me tell you something. After watching the episode we're going to recap today, you've definitely regained imaginary boyfriend status. If it was ever lost. It was never lost.
You're talking about the oh, well, isn't that very sweet of you? Wow, very sweet. No, this will be fun. So we have a whole different approach to this
do you
year.
Want to talk about it?
No, I want you talk about it. You're the host.
Okay. My goodness. Well, first of all, let's just say we have been on a hiatus, and it was a rather longer hiatus than originally planned, and that is, of course, because of the LA wildfires. We are keeping track of all of that. Our thoughts and our prayers go to all of you affected by it. You two have been keeping me, on updated on what's going on and how you guys are, and you guys are okay, right?
We are yes, no, we are fine. And your interest in how we were both doing and how everyone was doing was deeply
Terrifying.
appreciated. I mean, the pictures were so devastating coming out of Los Angeles that it was hard to imagine that the whole city wasn't an inferno. And clearly Los Angeles is a massive area, and where it was bad, it was awful. But in Westwood, where I am, we had 2 days of smoke and anxiety about it because of the wind, but it was never close to us. So we're very, very grateful for that.
I actually put up a couple pictures of the sky being blue in my neighborhood going, okay, everything isn't on fire. Nearly everything, but not everything. And it was the evacuation zones kept getting closer and closer and closer. So we were all in this kind of state of anticipatory terror while this went on. And then our friends are all calling us going, I'm evacuating, I'm evacuating, I'm evacuating. It was bad.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you guys are okay.
Yeah, thank you for that. And we're good. And yes, our heartfelt best wishes and our compassion go out to everybody in Los Angeles area who is affected by this, and everyone appreciates all of the good vibes.
And I just wanted to also say, there were rumors about Matthew Liberteau and what his status is, and I'm sorry to report that the rumors are true, that he and his family have lost everything. I know there's a GoFundMe page to help out.
Right.
Listen, we're going to put a lot of stuff in the show notes for charitable causes that go directly to helping people affected by the LA fires, so including Matthew, who we're sending our love to. So that was an additional delay. But we're back. And okay, let's talk about season 2. Doesn't it feel like we've been doing this for 10 years already?
It does, actually.
That's because we didn't take a break.
It does.
Normal podcasts do not do as many episodes as we did in just one season. So this should be like season 5, I'm thinking. But anyway, on this season of... That's right, the Little House on the Prairie 50th Anniversary podcast. We are focusing on favorite episodes from the Little House series. We will reflect, we'll analyze, maybe criticize, maybe.
No. We can't criticize.
If anything,
It's an unscientific.
Yes, of course we can criticize. We were there.
I'm telling you right now, when I see a French tip, I'm going to criticize. That's just what's going to happen.
Now, it is an unscientifically created and ordered selection of the 50. We're not going to try to do it in actual order or logic or anything. And as I said, we will venture outside of this to speak to other guests and generally do whatever the heck we want. Because you know what we're
exactly.
Like. But we will get to nearly all of them at some point.
And we will have special guests on certain shows as well, and to talk about episodes and other things. So this is going to be really fun. I think fans have been wanting this for a long time too.
Yeah, so we're going to start with number 50 in our rundown. And then later, after we go through the number 50 episode, which we'll tell you in a second, we're going to be speaking with actor, producer, writer Stephen Wishnoff about a special contest he ran last year. It's taken months to compile the results for his You're Doing the Cooking contest. Which is pretty cool.
Every second of it. So you guys, you're all amazing. But okay, let's get to it. Let's get started here from the studios of UBN Go in Burbank, California. Actually, none of us are in the studio today, but that's all right. It's still Tony at UBN Go. Woohoo, Tony! This is the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast. Okay, this is going to be fun, you guys. What is the number 50 on our list, Dean?
Well, I'm glad you asked, but I'm a little surprised that it's only number 50.
Samesies.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. But I'm grateful that it's somewhere in the countdown. Back to School, parts 1 and 2, my debut episodes of Little House, September 17th, 1979, written and directed by Michael Landon. As I was looking at this, I asked ChatGPT to give us a synopsis of what this episode was about. Yeah, just for see. Allison, what did it say?
Okay, first of all, never try to say ChatGPT in French.
Oh.
Long story. Oh, dear.
Okay.
And I despise AI, but this is a really good description. So indeed, Back to School episodes, Little House Story. It's a 2-part story from season 6, episodes 1 and 2, that mark a major turning point, especially for Laura Ingalls. The 2-parter showcases Laura's transition from childhood to adolescence, her growing independence, her determination to win El Manzo's affection,
It also reflects the classic themes of Little House on the Prairie: family, community, perseverance, even as it adds a lighthearted and romantic element to the series.
It really did.
These episodes, it did.
Yeah.
These episodes are notable for setting the stage for Laura and Almanzo's eventual romance, one of the most beloved arcs in the show's later seasons. They balance humor and heart, making them fan favorites for Little House legacy.
Thanks, ChatGPT.
Yeah, I mean, fan favorites. Yeah,
Also,
thank you,
Mud
ChatGPT.
Fight.
How do you say that in French, by the way?
Well,
Never mind. So,
I'm not. It becomes really bad when you say it in French. And
Okay.
on the news, where they've had...
oh, okay. Well, let's not do that then. It's too early.
a problem for the newscasters.
So, yeah, I mean, I like the fan favorites thing. I think it should be higher than number
do
50,
too.
but that's just me. But I'm grateful
Hell
that it's
yeah.
season 2, show 1. So I'll take that.
Also,
Okay,
there were so
like
many iconic
Laura Almanzo.
moments. Like rewatching it,
Mud fight?
the birth of ZALDAMO, cinnamon chicken. Like, it's all in this episode. I'm a woman and I hate all of you. It's all here.
I'm a woman, I hate all of you.
Like,
Paul beats up Almanzo.
it's all here. Okay, do we need to do
This is all in one
a
episode.
synopsis, or are we just going to start?
I think
Okay,
We just did the
more of a
synopsis.
Okay,
Dan McBride.
Oh, no.
Guy I hit with the chickens first appearance. This is the first appearance
That's
of Dan
right, in the
McBride, who I
restaurant.
later hit with many chickens. This is his debut.
there's so many firsts.
With the pancakes, you need it with
Yes.
you're going to eat it with a poker.
Yes, exactly.
I
the
love
hot
that.
the brick pancakes. That's
Yeah.
what happens.
I will
So,
say
yes.
the first thing that hits me is that everyone pronounces Almanzo's name wrong. Everyone got the memo that we're all saying Almanzo now. How? What? Not a single person. Not a single person was like, maybe this isn't, or it was just too late. You just had to roll with it.
And we
Well,
say
it
Lucy
wasn't-
did it first, but did we shoot that first, or did other people already do?
The name had never. I don't think the name had ever been used on the show before. Lucy Lee Flippin said it
Get
for the
thrown
first
around
time
the bus.
in that, pleasure to meet you, man. This is my brother Almanzo. I think it went, it was that pronunciation all through the audition process. That's what it
wild.
was. And so no one questioned it. And certainly, and I've talked about this before, Lucy and I we were like, in a fog as we stepped into this. So we weren't going to question anything. It was so wonderful to be there, and we said it the way we'd said it, and there we were.
Yeah, it's now because now that I know, I can't unhear it now. So every time someone says it, it's like, ugh, it's like a little zing. It's just
Well,
More
I think
insane.
of it as like Cole Porter, potato, potato,
Sure.
tomato, tomato, Almanzo,
Right.
Okay.
Almanzo. I mean, it's
Catherine
all the same.
McGregor, ZALDAMO,
Brilliance.
the ZALDAMO, Mrs. Olsen thing. Do you know that in the scripts where God is my witness, in the script, it was DALZAMO.
Yes.
And
Yes.
she said,
better.
ZALDAMO. And they said, cut. No, DALZAMO. This went on for some time. And finally, everybody gave up and said, it's ZALDAMO. And hence, it became ZALDAMO because she decided.
Which is something because Michael wrote the episode.
Yeah.
and these
And,
two episodes are also so funny. His sense of humor is so great.
Yeah, no, the things that made Michael's humor what it was were all on full
Yes.
display in this episode. But I always was struck by the fact that I wasn't thinking about it then. It was just funny when she said ZALDAMO. I wasn't thinking, oh my God, she's stepping. He's the writer. He's the director. He's the star.
He's right there.
here. And she didn't care. She went right at
She knew what was
ZALDAMO
funny.
because it was funnier.
It just is.
Yeah.
There's something about like certain consonants are funnier than others. Like certain numbers are funnier than others. It doesn't make sense, but it makes perfect sense.
Yes, and the fact that he accepted it after the third take of being
Wow.
corrected, and which was I think that's really surprising. I don't know about Alison, how that's for people to just like go at that and
Only
challenge
her.
his writing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was slack-jawed going, whoa, this is a good one. Well, where is this going? And then to it, I went, but it was she is so brilliant in this episode.
is.
The noises, it's
Yeah.
a stove, it's a
Well,
majestic.
that line
majestic
also, it's a stove, a majestic stove, and who's going to do the cooking? I mean, such
Yes, well, there it is.
iconic-
All there.
I didn't realize until rewatching it how many iconic lines and moments are in these 2 episodes. I mean, truly,
Yes,
like
Mother.
we've hit the mother load with these 2 episodes.
How is this only
How
number
is this
50?
only number 50?
Hi, thank you. And the debut of our friend Dan McBride, who she serves the Pucky
Yes.
Puck pancakes to, who then is tortured by Mrs. Olsen and I with bad food for years.
Yeah, I know. Dan was really good. Dan had that really sort of nice edge in his voice, and he was just sort of entitled as he's looking at this food and had no hesitation to comment on it, and he did it. I mean, he was very,
And
very
you also
solid.
got the sense that he was this single guy on the prairie, desperate for a meal, and could never get one.
and couldn't get one at Nellie's. Yeah.
The only restaurant.
Yeah, the only restaurant for miles, which, of course, Catherine let everybody know in that first scene is she's marketing like crazy, hawking the restaurant.
Interesting, though, because who's going to do the cooking? Nellie wants nothing to do with this restaurant. And it's the first time we really get a glimpse into Harriet Olsen's sort of past and maybe how she herself was able to get a husband by having a business. And because obviously no one was knocking down her door. And so she's trying to do the same thing for her. But it's really fascinating.
Well, Nels was smitten with her immediately.
Yes.
I was under the understanding that Mrs. Olsen was hot. That she was fiery in temperament, and Nell saw something there.
But she also had a business.
A little spicy,
she
maybe.
also was business.
No, she had a business. No,
she had a business.
Absolutely.
Interest in her father's store. She had horses, but I think that was also. I think he saw a little something there in her personality. Maybe she was fun when the lights went out and nobody else was around. She was fun.
This is the other thing, Dean. I want to say. This is the other thing. For a girl who wasn't attracted to you, wasn't interested in you, didn't want to act in love with you, you and Melissa Gilbert had great chemistry in those first 2 scenes. Really sweet.
Yes!
Really sweet.
Yeah, it is interesting, and it I think she was able to push past her disdain initially.
Well, and those weren't the love scenes. Those were still the sort of infatuation scenes. But even so.
Yes, and what she had played many times. She had played that infatuation thing. And so she got that, and that was easy. There was nothing at stake yet physically with her. There was no proximity yet.
You were so young. I know everyone goes, oh my God, the age difference, but less than the real Laura and Almanzo, who were a full 10 years apart. Yes, she looked really young. She was 15, and she looked younger than 15.
So high.
But
oh my God.
You were how old? 22?
23. That was 23. I was a young 23.
I would not have sold you a beer. If I was a bartender, I would have carded you in a heart. I would have said, "You are not 21." Yeah, ha ha ha. Fake ID.
I would have whipped out my ID.
I would not have sold you a beer. I would have thought you were 16. Back then, I thought, "Oh yeah, he looks like he's 22." I'm a grown-up lady now. I'm going, "Look at the little boy. Look at that." And Mrs. Olsen even says, "Oh, that boy. He's quite nice looking, isn't he? You look stupid young." At 22, you do.
Wait,
you look
Dean, do you think you look younger than 23? I don't. Maybe that just happens with our age, and we look back and go, "Oh my God, look how young we were." Yeah.
But when I was a kid, oh yes, he looks older, but as an adult, you're like, he's a baby.
Yeah, no question. I was a young 23, and I think the other aspect of this that I'm always struck by is, I was young as an actor.
Yeah.
I had very little experience going into this. I'd done one movie the week, which was, very carefully directed by a wonderful director. And so I was really green stepping into this. And and I think that's part of what The Hire was about.
And it's so charming.
I was so green.
But I think you were so wonderful. I mean, really, because when I was rewatching it, I knew, now that I know you and I know the stories, and I knew that you were green, and I knew that this was your first big sort of thing. And Dean, you were so good. You just nailed it. You nailed it.
That's very sweet. That's very sweet. I have lost sleep through the years thinking about, how I sucked in
Take
various moments of this. When I watched the first scene, that was in the wagon.
There you are, Mr. Wonderful.
Picking up Laura in the wagon. There it is. But that scene was looped, and it was like, that was the first scene I did, and it was the first scene I looped, and it was like, oh my God, I learned in that scene how you could absolutely blow up your performance on a looping stage, because it sounded so different than what the space sounded like. And I've talked about this many times on Little House. We looped. I mean, there were loops, beep, 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 talk, and it went around and around and around until you locked in on it. There was no ADR stage. You weren't looking at the picture. There was no sense of proximity. It was, you did 70 loops in 20 minutes on our show.
It's true.
And that was, I had done some ADR work, so I was familiar with that. The looping thing I had not done, and that was like, oh my God, I don't even get to see this. I just have to do it. And that was sort of shocking to me.
Okay, I have to say, because we're talking about you nailing it, and we have to move this puppy along, but we're talking about nailing things. Cinnamon chicken.
Let's get to it.
To this day, decades later, I have even rational, sane adult people who are in show business, actors go, you sure there wasn't like hot cayenne pepper on that chicken? Because you guys are going red in the face and really choking. That is like so real. The two of you, and I counted, it's like 3 chews.
It's the slow burn.
By the 4th chew, your eyes water and you go all the way there. I do the same thing when we're choking in the people go, I've watched it 100 times. You guys look like you're dying. You can't.
Yeah, no, I think we were. I think in reflection on that one, Alison, I think we absolutely nailed that. No,
we nailed that.
No question. Brilliant. I feel really good about that.
Was that the very first time that you guys sat down and did anything together? That scene.
Yeah.
We'd done the scene. We'd done the little scene with your mom about being invited to dinner, but we really didn't talk. No, this was really the first time we talked to each other.
Yeah, I'm barely in that scene. That's all Mrs. Olsen. And then later I come over with the cookies and all that bullshit.
Bullshit. I love it. Yes. Yes, I love it when we curse on this.
Cook up some kidneys for me for lunch. I love them. No one can cook them like you.
No, cinnamon chicken.
Now we're talking about
absolutely
food.
Iconic. I'm sure you had no idea that it would be iconic when you were filming it.
No.
But it still is to this day.
But it was so. But I look at it and went, yes, we nailed it. We were freaking brilliant, and people to this day can't believe that we were fake.
It's true. It inspired some of my little merch. My cinnamon chicken, or my cayenne pepper and cinnamon jars that I've done. We had fun with that, and people do love it, and it's a very special moment in the show.
And the chicken was delicious.
That's good to know.
The prop department was absolutely delicious. There's nothing wrong with that chicken.
Yeah, absolutely. I also want to say, Alison, looking back at your performance in this, and I wasn't privileged to watch. I didn't know the show going into this, but in reflection, as having gotten to know you and getting to know the show, I think the thing that really, it's a turning point for Laura, obviously, and it's a turning point for you too. It is your first step into, you always were willful, no question about that, but it's your first step into pushing back on Mom.
Yes.
I don't know. Was there much pushback with Catherine? I don't feel like there was really much pushback with Catherine until who's doing the cooking.
The pig farmer, when I eloped with the pig farmer, I actually at one point screamed, shut up. She's going on about a pig farmer, and I just screamed, shut up, in her face, shut up, and run out of the room. So we started, as soon as boys appeared, I started pushing back, but there were boys. And then this was it. This is who's going to do the cooking. That was like, But it's so weird. Okay, Nellie had taken a test and graduated school, and everyone's kind of like, was that a thing in the 1800s? Wait, what are they talking about? Alison and took the California High School proficiency exam. That I had just done that, and was able to leave school in the 11th grade. Not a GED, not when you drop out and you come back. This is a test you take prior to graduation that gives you full credit as if you had graduated, and you can leave early. And I took that and left early, and he wrote it in. He wrote it into the show.
Michael was a sponge on all of those kinds of things. He really did pick up on stuff. And I just think this is a wonderfully crafted, and then his humor. his dynamic with Karen
Oh,
is so good.
those scenes together are so great.
The two of them are really wonderful together. And I had no idea at the point as I'm watching this that there was a lot of edge in this relationship. You wouldn't have thought watching those scenes that these two people weren't totally in love with each other and completely in sync with each other, and nothing, at least it would seem from what I observed, nothing could have been further from the truth. And yet when they were in front of the camera, they really killed it.
Did.
It's such a great one for Karen for Caroline and Karen, because she gives them a hard time.
Back.
No, we need the money. No, you're not. The mill tycoon. No, you don't have any money, and I need to get a job, and I'm going to get the job. And you said that, only an idiot what idiot said that? You did.
Well, and that's one of
petard.
That's part of Michael's. Michael was always doing humor where the things that he said would come back to bite him.
Bible quote.
That was a big part of Michael's humor.
And she quotes the Bible in his face about washing dishes, and that is it. The Bible quote is correct. You can look it up. She quotes Kings and 2 Kings.
They're sitting around that dinner table, and she's like, "Don't worry, our kids won't get spoiled." And he's like, "Hey, we're not poor." And I was like, watching it, going, "Yeah, you are." Who are you kidding? Yeah, you are, Charles Ingalls. Yeah, you are. Give me a break.
Yeah. No,
this is the other thing. I think these episodes are the beginning of Laura in that very awkward age where you are not quite yet a woman, but you aren't a really little girl, but you're acting like one, but also you're not one. And it's so cringy because she has no swag. Like, she has no, she's not cool. Laura is not cool, you guys. If I was hanging around Almanzo, who was a hottie, 10 years older than me, or however old he was, and I was in love with him, I would not be like, "Hey, man, what you love to do," which she totally is. She's got zero game. She's got zero game.
She is the heroine to fully awkward
to scream, everywhere. I'm a woman, and I hate all of you. In front of him is zero game, you guys. None.
Oh, that's interesting. And in front of her father, in front of his best friend, in front of Jonathan Garvey. I mean, it's like
cringe.
And everyone's looking like, what the hell was that? What did she just say? And it was a nice moment. It's a really nice moment.
It's great, but it is super cringy, cringelicious. Also, I have to say one more thing. She runs up to you. She's always running. She runs up to you.
Oh, running everywhere. Well, she's commented on that for years. Run. She ran everywhere.
Run. And she runs up to you, and you are sitting there outside of the mill or wherever you're working, and you are chomping on an apple, Mr. Dean Butler.
I can't believe I did that. The way as I watched, like, what were you doing?
Chomping with mouth wide open.
Mouth
I have
open.
never noticed it before until I watched it this last time, and I was like, "What is he doing?"
It has been a source of embarrassment to me for years that I sat and chomped on that.
Choice.
I was taught to eat with my mouth closed. But not in that scene. It was just ridiculous.
It was
how
a choice.
Bad that was.
It's just funny you made that choice.
Well, it wasn't a choice. It was totally unconscious. It was just sort of being
casual.
I don't know. I was in the moment, but it was not. It just wasn't a good look.
I had never noticed it before until I just rewatched. And I've seen these episodes a million. You guys, I've seen these episodes a million times. I never noticed, and I think it's because I know you. That it stuck out to me like, that is not Dean Butler-y at all, eating like that.
I'm so glad that apple wasn't spewing out of my mouth as I was chewing. That's all I can say.
Catherine did it all the time. Catherine was like, I'm spitting apple on you. Now, when I ate the cherry pie with my bare hands, I wanted to
love that scene.
And it's all over your mouth.
They had a fork.
So awful. You are awful.
There was a fork right there.
Will you forgive? This is the forgive me scene, right? This is
beg me.
Love that.
Beg me.
She's so evil. And in front of her mother? In front of Ma?
Yeah, I did this completely on purpose. I went, I'm not going to use the fork. I'm going to eat this pie with my hands like a maniac.
It's perfect.
And then earlier when it came right afterwards. Then the scene where you give her the books and mislead her on the history. And you, it's so clear. It's so clear to the audience, and the way David Rose scored. I mean, David Rose was right on the button with these things. I mean, all we needed to see you doing was twisting a fake mustache. I mean, that's what that moment was. For sure.
The boo-ha-ha. I said to Bob, I said, they're going to do the boo-ha-ha shot. And they did. She leaves, and they come back to me with the music going, boo-ha-ha-ha.
I think that's part of it. You know, you could say, well, that's too on the nose, but that's what Little House was. It was on the nose, and it was so disarming because it was so on the nose. It told you everything that you needed to know. And the scene when she's devastated and she knows she's failed and she's out there whimpering by the side of the lake, and here you come, and it's like the Wicked Witch of the West is showing up when you come flouncing around the lake.
Nelly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, it's just we know
her?
Evil is coming in.
And you saw her put the mud in my mouth, right?
My God.
Yes. You can hear smack. Right.
Well, do you remember what it tasted like after all these years?
I do. Yes, I remember what it felt like in my eye and between my teeth.
Did you take a hydrogen peroxide bath afterwards?
It was. They hosed us down. We couldn't go to the dressing room. They hosed us down, peeled off the outside layer of mud-ridden costumes, so we're in our bloomers and our tops, and then hosed us down again. Then we could hike to the dressing room.
Wait, so Alison, then when you re-entered into the restaurant and Harriet is like, look at my daughter,
because it's 3 days
later. Was that
later.
the same mud, or did?
Yeah, no, because it's like 3 days later, and now we're on the soundstage. So it was different mud, like Fuller's
and it was
Earth,
full
so
body.
Like
you were like Blue Man Group, but with mud.
The other color.
Yes.
Oh my God, that awesome. Was funny. Because you were covered in the lake, but when you came into the restaurant, it was a whole
totally
different thing.
Fuller's Earth and water. And we now know that Fuller's Earth is bad for you.
Oh boy.
Oh well.
Yeah, the continuity on the mud was not the best.
Yeah, no, that was not good.
I have one more question.
But Karen's reaction to seeing you looking like whatever you were, you were in blackface, basically, is what it looked like.
She cracks up like 4 times during that episode.
She's so good.
Like starts to lose it.
2 more things to talk about before we wrap this up.
Okay.
The first.
Okay.
Of course, Pop. Shirtless. And high.
Of course.
And high
you need to talk about Pa shirtless.
It's obvious. The viewers all know. Pa shirtless and high as a kite. I like this Charles Ingalls.
Yeah, that was a very cool
scene. And so funny.
Doc Baker goes, he's feeling no pain.
No pain, baby.
Yeah.
None.
He was so good with her, and she got her hand in his hair. It was a very loving. It was so intimate, and you just wonder.
How did they do it?
Exactly, because it was so not the space they were in together.
Because everybody on our show was a genius. How did Melissa kiss you? She was like, I don't know.
How did Melissa kiss you?
And yet, all these people slobbering all over each other, being madly in love on our show, even if they didn't hang out after work or even barely speak to each other.
Here's the other thing. Laura and the braids at this age. Here's what has always irked me as a girl / woman / viewer / fan. So she takes the braids out because she's like, I'm a woman now and I want to impress Almanzo, right? And she does, and she looks lovely. And then he says there's nothing cuter than little girls in pigtails and wah, wah, wah. And then she reverts back to the braids for the rest of the until she gets married, practically. She's back in the braids.
Yeah.
So 2 questions.
Yeah.
Why? And why? And I get that this is the iconic look, and maybe Michael Landon was like, no, this is how Laura looks, so she's sticking with the braids. So that's the first one. And the second one was Melissa Gilbert like, I can't believe they still have me in these freaking braids at that age?
That's an Alison question. She would know better. Melissa never would have told me anything like that.
Yeah.
So
she did not. She couldn't believe she was still in the braids and still
She was
being
like
kept such a
15.
little girl.
Yes, it's crazy. They kept her in those braids.
Also, she had beautiful hair. I remember I
best
told
hair.
her one morning that she looked like Brooke.
She did.
Freaking
She has the
Shields
best
with
hair
that
ever. She
looked
still
like
does.
she had fantastic
on the
hair.
island
Yeah.
with the hair. Brooke Shields
Yeah.
on the island
Yes.
with the hair. She was
Yeah.
stunning, and it was like,
they
why?
kept it
Why are
from
you in
us.
braids? Because I don't know why, maybe.
I get that that's her iconic look, and they wanted to probably just keep it that way for the viewers and for that. But dear Lord, she's 15. Please take out the braids. It really always
and
bothered
that she
me,
retreated.
especially when
Why
she's
not
screaming,
keep her
"I'm
hair?
a
She
woman!
said, I'm a woman. Keep
Right.
the hair, not
I
retreat
know, it
and get
doesn't
her
make
back
any
to the braids.
sense. This is what I'm talking about. All right.
Well, it was, and I think it was I think Michael wanted to keep
Yes,
her
as Laura Ingalls.
until Sweet 16, and that's when
Right.
it turned. Because the braids after Sweet 16, the braids were gone.
Right. And then it's sexy,
Thank
sexy
God.
love time. Yes, I got it. When the hair comes down.
Okay.
It was
Is it
ever
food?
sexy,
on the
sexy love
prairie,
time, but
when
it
the
was
hair
Sexy
comes
love
down,
time.
it's
Yeah,
sexy,
yeah.
sexy love time.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh,
Is it
my
food
God.
time?
Yes,
Is it
let's
food
do
time?
this. Okay, hold on. I'm getting my notes ready for our next.
Excited.
So anyway, that was Back to School 1
I'm
and 2.
so
A very
excited.
fast rewatch of it. That is how part 1 ended, our beloved cinnamon chicken. And part 2 is coming up, so we'll be right back after this.
When you visit Simi Valley, California, you're stepping into the pages of history. Go from the pioneers to the presidents. Explore beautiful wildflowers, hike through iconic Hollywood locations, and end your day aboard the actual Air Force One at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. Throughout the summer, take the Little House 50th Anniversary Tour at Big Sky Movie Ranch. Less than 15 minutes from Los Angeles and 30 minutes from Universal Studios, Simi Valley has small-town charm with big-time history. Go to visitsimivalley.com for more information. We are so grateful to visitsimivalley.com for their commitment to presenting the Little House 50th Anniversary podcast.
Okay, well, that's a wrap up of 2, I think, of the most iconic episodes of the entire Little House canon. Do you not agree? I can't believe it's only number 50. Should be in the top 10.
Yeah, I'm just horrified that it's
what's
number
that?
50. But I love the episode. I'm very proud of it.
Agree. And
Very
as
proud
a
of what
fan,
we
it's
did
just, again, one of my favorites of all time. So yay, you guys, you did it. You really did it. And
We did it.
again,
Well,
the
thank you.
iconic cinnamon chicken scene, which actually looked quite delicious. It always makes me think of food. And
Yeah.
you've made cinnamon chicken, Dean. So
I have, and I thought it was the way the recipe we found I thought it was absolutely terrific. You know, this leads us to our guest in this episode. Stephen Wishnoff is a wonderful actor, producer, writer, and Stephen, for reasons he will tell us when we bring him in, created this contest. So, Stephen,
Hello.
come on in.
Hi there.
And
welcome.
hello. So tell us about this contest, and
Well,
it's about food.
Boy, is it about food. In fact, in response to Nellie Olson's question, the answer is you're going to do the cooking. Now,
So good.
So that's the link of this episode
Yes.
to you is that iconic moment.
Yes.
Who's doing the cooking? And you picked up on that for this contest. And we picked up on your contest
exactly.
to link you with this
And
episode. So
My God, did they
Hey.
do the cooking? The entries. How many entries? How many
honestly-
entries were there, Steve?
Entries that counted were 75. There were people who threw things in that we couldn't
Wow.
really consider for prairie-friendly
More
reasons.
than 75.
One or two.
seriously,
Wow. Shirtless paw, shirtless paw.
Oh, no, we have plenty of
Shirtless
those.
paw. Yeah, I saw a couple shirtless paws
We
in
have
some
some,
of the
in fact,
entry.
no,
More
it had to be more
salacious- more
intimate than that if
salacious than
Stephen
shirtless.
withheld it.
Now, the rules
Yeah.
were
Popcorn be popping.
it had to be a depiction of either a character, a scene, or something
In food.
to do
you
with the
can
show.
make it out of whatever
in
you
food.
want, however you want. It could be abstract. It could be realistic. It's your interpretation of it. Just give us the best you've got. It doesn't even have to be edible.
So funny.
Who judged this contest?
When I put
Stephen?
the word out to cast and Prairie family, which included crew and Pamela Bob and some other folks, Charlotte Randall Yerke, and other folks who have worked with you all over the last couple of years. Pretty much everybody, Leslie Landon Matthews, everybody jumped on and said, I'll be a judge. And I said, Are you sure? Because this is going to get interesting. And poor Wendy Lully. Oh, my gosh.
I don't think people realized how interesting it was going to get. Yes.
Oh, yes. I mean, I got a call from Wendy Lully that just said, you're kidding, right?
75 entries. My God.
And the only real instruction to the judges was, and I gave them criteria, use a scale from 1 to 10, with low being Willie, stand in the corner, and 10 being you're such a good friend, Nellie. And y'all got back to me with them, and they were incredible.
Dean's confused. Dean, that's what she says before she pushes her down the hill in the wheelchair. Okay.
That's correct. In Bunny. Yes. Yeah. So, what? Yeah, go ahead.
So was I.
Recording. I would lose my mind laughing. I was sobbing trying to go through these 75 entries. I was in a state of hysteria because they were that funny. They were that insane. Yeah.
And I found that I couldn't judge because they were all so good. I couldn't compare one to the other. Like, it wasn't fair comparing them because they were all so brilliant.
Well, they really were. And
laid on us.
If I can roll right into this.
Let's do this.
Please.
I don't know that you caught this or not, but the inspiration for this was something I came across on the internet. God knows who created it or why, but I found it, shared it with Alison, and referred to it as Harriet in
I have nightmares from looking at that picture now.
That's awesome.
Now, I looked at that and said, well, if somebody can do this, I know the bonnet heads could do something better.
No.
So who has aspic? Who's making aspic in their homes? Like,
yeah, I know that's
crazy.
such a different time.
And to embed olives and peas and pepper and tuna fish in it in a mold.
Not an aspic.
I mean, well, Alison likes tuna fish, just not like that.
Yeah. It was art. It was more about the art than about edibility. Edibility? Is that a word?
That word works.
Yeah.
But
you know,
the truth of it is, when abstract lightness was a category, how have you created this in the abstract, which meant it didn't necessarily have to be realistic. Well, I mean, one of them even depicted Pamela Bob. As a representative of,
I don't know if I saw this one.
As fans of the show, and in fact, we had a tie for abstract likeness, and it happened to win. It took them 3 pictures to show everything they did. So
my God.
There's the first picture. There's googly eyes on all of these fruits and vegetables and things. Picture 2.
Oh my gosh.
In a cardboard little house, no less. And
yes.
Then there's picture 3, which includes Pamela Bob as depicted as tortilla chips. Just like the perfect tortilla chip, Pamela Bob.
Yeah, but look at the big eyes.
The fan.
They nailed the eyes, and
and she goes with
knee
everything.
deep in the guacamole, which is exactly how I want to be. So she nailed
and
it.
Describe you as you add the crunch and fun to the Little House universe, ready to scoop up every hilarious and heartwarming moment with laughter and tears.
So who is this winner?
Okay. So this winner, abstract
Jennifer
likeness,
Slate. I saw her.
Is Jennifer Slate.
Jennifer
So congratulations,
Slate. Bravo,
Jennifer.
Jennifer Slate. Oh
Yeah,
my
I mean, that, as for
Congratulations,
abstract
Jennifer.
likenesses, that absolutely kind of blew everybody away. Really did. Now, the
it's
next
incredible.
category, best actual likeness, there was a tie. I could not believe that when I added up all the scores, there was actually a numeric tie. So the first
Seriously.
of the two is from Kellyanne Hickey Lynch from Landisville, Pennsylvania. She did
My God.
Laura.
Creepy zombie Laura, but Laura.
Yes. Terrifying and amazing.
Yeah, that's
Right.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like the
Out of
Halloween
pie
Laura.
crusts and mashed potatoes and Tootsie Rolls and black-eyed peas and
Appetite.
and cinnamon for her freckles. But this one tied but blew me away because who in the world thought to do Houston Lamb?
Lamp? Really? Houston Lamp.
It's actually Houston,
Lamp,
and
right,
actually
yes,
Houston
Lamp.
Lamp
Perfect.
is his name with a P. Yeah, but
Dovetail.
I think that's an
Someone
incredible
created Dub Taylor in food
creation
perfectly.
of Houston Lamp. Dub
Right?
Taylor
I
would
mean-
be so honored.
And it's
Was that made of? What was that
cinnamon
made out
bread,
of?
vermicelli rice, tortilla
Of
wrap,
course.
icing, and candy eyeballs.
I'm dying.
Now,
Perfect
the
for
creativity
perfect
one,
for
which
Dub
I
Taylor.
thought was kind of huge, boy, were they creative. And again, another tie. I defied the odds
goodness.
completely. But the first one, and Alison, you'll have to tell us if you recognize her because even her apron is the right color. It's Mrs. Olson from the episode
this
Wave
one
of the
blew my
Future.
mind because they got the dress down so perfectly in color. It's
Yes, the dress is perfect. Is that lettuce?
It is. She made the
And
head.
lettuce.
She did the
So
head and body out of zucchini. The arms are asparagus, but the dress was purple lettuce.
because of
And
course
the apron
it is.
itself is cabbage.
Yeah, it's incredible.
So good.
I mean, she could,
Asparagus arms.
supply an entire food bank with that. The other half of the tie, who incidentally also what would have been the winner for, we had this subcategory of most creative use of ingredients and
Yeah, would you
I'm
eat
most likely to eat it.
Okay.
I was
Three
asked, would I
different
eat it?
judges
And I had to
said
say yes.
I would eat this. It's
it? Yeah.
Mr. Edwards, the burrito
Oh.
feast.
It's
It looks incredible.
This is
too.
the best
I mean,
thing
that-
we've ever done.
This
ever.
is it's an unbelievable mosaic of burrito ingredients. It's taco meat and tomatoes, black beans, refried beans, taco cheese, everything. And according to Haley Clark from Franklin, Ohio, who made this,
But it looks
put it
like
together.
you could serve it
They
at the
put it
Super Bowl.
together.
You could put this out at the Super Bowl with some chips and at your party. And
Yeah,
that's-
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. For a Super Bowl party for Little House
absolutely.
fans would be
now,
just incredible.
and I forgot to mention that the Mrs. Olson was made by Stephanie Jones English.
Okay, brilliant.
Incredible.
See,
Stephanie
people, if
Jones
people
English,
are
just
listening to this on
incredible.
Spotify or Apple, iPod, switch
And we'll
over to
post
YouTube
photos.
because you can see these pictures.
And if you're on
Yeah, yeah.
Facebook, we're going to
post
leave the
everything?
Facebook contest page open
Oh, we'll put up
No,
all the
so that
pictures.
people
We'll
can
put all the
congratulate
pictures.
each other
okay,
and,
good. Okay. Good.
Great.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
All the original entries
Excellent.
are right there on the Facebook page. It's Little House Contest.
Great.
Well, Stephen, this is just incredible, and thank you so much for creating this. And if you're a patron, we're going to be
Yeah,
talking
so
more about
stick
this in just a
around. We're
minute.
going to do more on Patreon.
Yeah, so Pamela, say goodbye for us. We need to dive for
Listen,
the exit.
everybody, this is our premiere episode of season 2, which really should be season 7 or 19 by now. But we're so happy to be back. Thank you for viewing us, for listening to us, for subscribing to us. If you're not on Patreon yet, please join us on Patreon. You could even do a month free and check us out. We are going to be doing more contest winners and entry people and pictures on Patreon. So come and check us out on that. And in the meantime, thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Dean and Allison. Thank you, Tony and UBN Go. Thank you to everyone. Well wishes to everyone in LA. Check the show notes for links. Anyway, it's that time again. Bob, get the wig. Let's fly, everybody. Our second season flying. Woo!